Disclaimer. We do not claim ownership to any materials posted. The main purpose of the reviewer is to assist examinees who chose to review online. All due credit belongs to its rightful owner. Question number 1. Miss Shaina is comparing measurement from evaluation. Which statement explains the difference? A. Measurement is assigning a numerical value to a given trait, while evaluation is giving meaning to the numerical value of the trait. B. Measurement is the process of gathering, while evaluation is the process of quantifying the data gathered. C. Measurement is the process of quantifying data, while evaluation is the process of organizing data. D. Measurement is a prerequisite of assessment, while evaluation is the prerequisite of testing. Answer. A. Measurement is assigning a numerical value to a given trait while evaluation is giving meaning to the numerical value of the trait. Miss Queenie uses alternative methods of assessment. Which of the following will she not likely use? A. Multiple choice test. B. Reflective journal writing. C. Oral presentation. D. Developing portfolios. Answer. A. Multiple choice test. Miss Imee aims to measure a product of learning. Which of these objectives will she most likely set for her instruction? A. Show positive attitude towards learning common nouns. B. Identify common nouns in a reading selection. C. Construct a paragraph using common nouns. D. Use a common noun in a sentence. Answer. C. Construct a paragraph using common nouns. The students of Miss Medrano are very noisy. To keep them busy, they were given any test available in the classroom, and then the results were graded as a way to punish them. Which statement best explains if the practice is acceptable or not? A. The practice is acceptable, because the students behaved well when they were given a test. B. The practice is not acceptable, because it violates the principle of reliability. C. The practice is not acceptable, because it violates the principle of validity. D. The practice is acceptable, since the test results are graded. Answer. C. The practice is not acceptable because it violates the principle of validity. At the beginning of the school year, the 6-year-old pupils were tested, to find out who among them can already read. The result was used to determine their sections. What kind of test was given to them? A. Diagnostic. B. Formative. C. Placement. D. Summative. Answer. C. Placement. Miss Stephanie developed an achievement test in math, for her grade 3 pupils. Before she finalized the test, she examined carefully if the test items were constructed, based on the competencies that have to be tested. What test of validity was she trying to establish? A. Content validity. B. Concurrent validity. C. Predictive validity. D. Construct validity. Answer. A. Content validity. Miss April wants to establish the reliability of her achievement test in English. Which of the following activities will help achieve her purpose? A. Administer 2 parallel tests to different groups of students. B. Administer 2 equivalent tests to the same group of students. C. Administer a single test but 2 different groups of students. D. Administer 2 different tests but to the same group of students. Answer. B. Administer 2 equivalent tests to the same group of students. The grade 6 pupils were given a diagnostic test in addition and subtraction of whole numbers, to find out if they can proceed to the next unit. However, the results of the test were very low. What should the teacher do? A. Proceed to the next lesson to be able to finish all the topics in the course. B. Construct another test parallel to the given test to determine the consistency of the scores. C. Count the frequency of errors to find out the lessons that the majority of students need to relearn. D. Record the scores, then inform the parents about the very poor performance of their child in mathematics. Answer. C. Count the frequency of errors to find out the lessons that the majority of students need to relearn. Miss Rianne is doing an assessment of learning. At what stage of instruction should she do it? A. Before instruction. B. After instruction. C. Prior to instruction. D. During the instructional process. Answer. D. During the instructional process. Miss Angelica advocates assessment for learning. Which will she not likely do? A. Formative assessment. B. Diagnostic assessment. C. Placement assessment. D. Summative assessment. Answer. A. Formative assessment. What should be done first when planning for a performance-based assessment? A. Determine the table of specifications of the tasks. B. Set the competency to be assessed. C. Set the criteria in scoring the task. D. Prepare a scoring rubric. Answer. B. Set the competency to be assessed. To maximize the amount of time spent for performance-based assessment, which one should be done? A. Plan a task that can be used for instruction and assessment at the same time. B. Assess one objective for one performance task. C. Set objectives only for cognitive domains. D. Limit the task to one meeting only. Answer. A. Plan a task that can be used for instruction and assessment at the same time. Who among the teachers below gave the most authentic assessment task for the objective, solve word problems involving the 4 basic operations? A. Miss Shaina, who presented a word problem involving 4 fundamental operations and then asked the pupils to solve it. B. Miss Rain, who asked her pupils to construct a word problem for a given number sentence that involves 4 fundamental operations, and then asked them to solve the word problem they constructed. C. Miss Easter, who asked her pupils to construct any word problem that involves the 4 fundamental operations, and then asked them to show how to solve it. D. Miss Ladylai, who asked her pupils to construct any word problem that involves the 4 fundamental operations, then formed them by twos, so that each pair exchanged problems and helped solve each other's problem. Answer. D. Miss Ladylai, who asked her pupils to construct any word problem that involves the 4 fundamental operations, then formed them by twos so that each pair exchanged problems and helped solve each other's problem. Which is wrong to assume about traditional assessment? A. It can assess individuals objectively. B. It can assess individuals at the same time. C. It is easier to administer than performance test. D. It can assess fairly all the domains of intelligence of an individual. Answer. D. It can assess fairly all the domains of intelligence of an individual. Which statement about performance-based assessment is false? A. It emphasizes merely process. B. It also stresses doing, not only knowing. C. It accentuates on process as well as product. D. Essay tests are an example of performance-based assessments. Answer. A. It emphasizes merely process. Under which assumption is portfolio assessment based? A. Portfolio assessment is a dynamic assessment. B. Assessment should stress the reproduction of knowledge. C. An individual learner is adequately characterized by a test score. D. An individual learner is inadequately characterized by a test score. Answer. D. An individual learner is inadequately characterized by a test score. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more.